Any questions? Yes.
Is your website live?
Yes.
Yes, it is live near neighborhoodgps.nyc.
That's actually where we are right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Learn more, tell you.
Okay, so Learn More actually does something very cool. So if you must admit, it was my feature. So it'll take you straight to a Wikipedia page about that neighborhood. One of the things of this project was we were on a time constraint, so having Wikipedia do all the research for us in terms of the neighborhoods was very helpful. But what that button actually does is it takes you to a Google search for that neighborhood that you clicked on, and will automatically open the first result in a new tab, which happens to be Wikipedia because we pass in the word Wikipedia into the Google search. So that was a pretty cool feature, a little bit hacky. Yeah, any other questions?
What do you use Yelp for?
Yelp. Yelp we use for the Nightlife Score, which we basically determined by passing all the neighborhoods to Yelp with terms like bars and restaurants. And the results that Yelp returns is basically a number of businesses plus the average rating for the top 20 results for that area. And so through a combination of quantity and quality, we determined a Nightlife Score. It's very rough. It's a subjective score. Yeah.
To expand on that question, how far back did you go? Like, is it like last year, 2-3 years back,
So
this year?
in terms of the data, it's really split. All the census data, the latest it was updated is 2013 because that's the last time they took the census. But for most of the API calls, I'm assuming most of it's current considering where we got it from, places like Google, Yelp, Streeteasy.
Yeah, and so exactly. So some of those API calls, basically, as soon as you do them, presumably they are current. But we could basically reseed our database every once in a while to see if the results have changed for Yelp or for Google.
That's right. School data is every year they post these huge, large amounts of data about all the schools in New York City. So every year, if you reload the data, yeah.
Actually, going back to that property value thing, at the moment we're using the census data, but we also have some Streeteasy stuff, which we think would obviously be a little more up to date, and so we'd like to work that in. Yeah.
So you said you're using some Streeteasy data. How comprehensive is
Streeteasy?
Streeteasy?
So we ran into this exact problem because we basically submitted by zip code rather than by neighborhood, because neighborhood names can be a little subjective and there's not a totally agreed upon definition. And what we found was that the zip code information was very good for Manhattan, for Brooklyn, kind of the neighborhoods that I think frankly have more listings on Streeteasy, and there were a few zip codes that were missing, in which case the census data would be a nice fallback because the data's there.
And just to follow up, data on average rents and room counts, that comes from New York City. Is that DHCR or?
DHCR.
I think that's census data.
Yeah, the room count comes from the census, and the rent median that we are displaying comes from Streeteasy. If it's, wait, did we change that yet? No, we did not. That's not true. So it's at the moment it's from the census.
Okay, and did you guys try to tap the New York City databases?
So we
Or
do.
Property Shark? Is Property Shark having an available API for free?
We it may actually that's a good question. We looked at Trulia and we didn't like Trulia and we didn't like their tech stack. We looked at Zillow a little bit and I think their results that wasn't exactly in the format we were looking for because we wanted generalized zip code or neighborhood information, and we should probably double check about Property Shark.
In terms of some of the other New York City data, a lot of this stuff like the noise and the crime levels come from a site, New York City Open Data, which is basically an effort by the government to really publicate a lot of data sets. So they were very helpful in terms of some of the attributes that we collected also.
Yeah, and they're great about having CSV or Excel files, liquor license counts, school data. Yeah.
Besides
So, actually, in terms of what our database is seeded with, sorry if
We have age range and if they are income level.
It's the Lakers.
And,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So,
there's-
if you take a look at that little whiteboard drawing, that was actually in part of the first week. So there's about, I don't know, I'd say about 100 criteria that we're measuring against. So I guess that's why everything in the form is kind of taken into account. And that's why we tried to make it look nice on the eyes so that you don't realize how much information you're actually giving us.
I see.
Yeah, we actually went into, for example, schools, how rigorous the school's instruction is and how the students achieved, what kind of, marks and the SAT scores, all those things they got, and the enrollment. So we went into a few categories, in detail.
Did you guys look into like parks and like other stuff? Like for example, if it's a kid friendly, if you have like a couple of kids, like besides schools, like good schools or whatever else, what other attributes would there be? There'd be like more parks, or there'd be more after school activities or such, or is that something
We looked at, for example, a high proportion of a population under 19.
18 years.
So that's one thing that's in there. In terms of parks, I think we wanted to do that, and just because of time constraints, we couldn't find the right data set. But we'd definitely like to add that in the future. And things like crime, I think we could relate crime to whether it's a good neighborhood for children as well.
All right, any other questions?